If you had to take one band to tour with, any band in the world, who would it be? That you know.
AC/DC. If I,
Yeah. And they just got their original with the lineup
they should open for you
back
for sure.
together.
Well, what I often say, people say, "Hey, we're touring with Kiss or someone." They said, "You're opening for Kiss?" I said, "No, they're closing for us."
Yeah, exactly. Hey everybody, welcome to the SB Podcast. I am Trevor Swenson, joined by my friend Adam Bance.
Hello.
Today we are having a very special guest with us, Mr. David Lowy.
Hi fellas.
David,
Yes.
Please tell everybody why you are who you are. Tell us a little bit about your background.
My background.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got quite a varied background. I learnt piano. As far as music's concerned, I learnt piano as a child.
Okay.
My mother played piano. She's a very good pianist, and did that for a little while. And had a teacher who hit me over the knuckles with a ruler, so I stopped doing that. And
this is in Australia where you're from,
yeah,
right? Okay,
I'm from Sydney.
Yeah.
I live in New York now, but I'm from Sydney. And
You have an incredible diner, by the way, across the street from your apartment or
yeah.
your house. So me and your manager had breakfast there.
Good.
I think we walked Central Park one time.
Good.
Back to your growing up and who you are.
Yeah, and but I always had a thing for music. I'm 10 years old. I bought my first single. It was by a band called the Easy Beats. And the Easy Beats is Vanda and Young. Young was George Young, the brother of Malcolm and Angus.
Yeah.
And that my musical influences started then, and wanted to play music. I had a bit of a garage band when I was a teenager, and I played bass, and then I stopped. And I had a business career, and I'm also a pilot, and I do many other things. And so I always wanted to get back into music, and but my career kept me very, very busy. But I eventually did it.
Well, tell everybody about your career. Like you're one of the co-founders, right, of the Westfield Group or Westfield.
My father is a co-founder of.
Your father is.
My father started co-founder of Westfield, the shopping mall business.
Okay.
In 1960, and fortunately we sold it in 2018.
Congrats! That's perfect timing. I've had so many conversations like you guys just got to be looking at like this is fantastic.
Listen, you got to be lucky in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, that's pretty lucky.
Karma.
Yeah, you got to be lucky. And so it was a family business. Worked in it with my dad and my brothers. And it was a large public company, but basically family run. And in 2000, I decided I didn't want to be involved in the public company anymore, and I wanted to actually run a private business for my family, which would also give me more time and space to do the things I wanted to do. After I started working in 1976. I finished university, and so I'd been doing it already for 23, 24 years, and I wanted a change of career that would also give me the time to do the other things that I do, both music and aviation. So I left the corporation in 2000 and started a private investment business for my family. And because it's private, I don't have to account for my time. I have to account for my results to my family, which I've been able to do. But apart from that, my time's mine.
Yeah, I hear you.
And so it gave me the freedom of being able to play music and put a band together. And also my business training enabled me to, I've got organizational ability, financial capacity, and very, very passionate and strong desire to have a successful rock and roll band. And you put all that together and managed to meet some very, 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 very talented people who it's a privilege for me to play with them. And here we are.
Yeah.
I heard that Dead Daisies track. You played it for me.
Yeah.
The one in the new video.
The one with the video. We got
that's
shown
amazing.
One.
Bustle and Flow.
Yeah, it's really good.
The time signature is crazy.
The video of it's great.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, how much this thing costs?
So, how did you get into aviation?
I wanted to fly since I was a little kid, since I was 5 years old. My mother bought me this little balsa wood glider when I came home from school one day, and we lived on a very steep hill on on the ocean in Sydney, and I took this glider in my hand and threw it down this steep hill, and it's in my mind's eye to this day. I just watched that thing glide down the hill.
Oh, cool.
And I hooked on flying from that minute. I also wanted to as well as play rock music, I wanted to be in the Air Force.
Okay.
And obviously my career took me another direction, but I have since done a lot in aviation.
What are you? You said you're a pilot. What are you rated on?
I have a US ATP.
Okay.
I was Australian.
Explain that to the normal people out there what that means.
I have an airline transport pilot license.
Okay. So
I was
essentially, how big of a plane can you fly then?
Well, I can learn to fly any plane.
Yeah.
Okay.
I fly a Gulfstream now, Gulfstream 550.
Okay.
But I was Australian aerobatic champion in
awesome.
1998. I did 10 years of competition aerobatics. You know, like in the Red Bull type flying.
Yeah.
I was going to say the Red Bull series, yeah.
And I have a aviation museum in Australia that I started as a dedication to Australian servicemen and women that served our country in time of war, and have a whole collection of old military planes, including 2 Spitfires, which I fly myself, and some fighter jets and other things like that. So
That's awesome.
I love flying.
Yeah, that's my main business. Is private aviation.
Yeah.
I was in the music industry for 15 years before this, and now
So you went into another great business,
know,
aviation.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
2 of the toughest businesses that there are.
but it's I have a niche. That's the beauty of it, is that not many people have had touring experience.
Yeah.
And the ability to put artists on planes.
Yeah. I have 4,000 plus hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
About 2,500 Gulfstream hours.
Oh, amazing. And you have a G550?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful plane.
That's
Beautiful
awesome.
plane.
What do your days look like? What are you doing these days?
Every day is the same. Well, I don't want to say it's the same. It's not the same for me, but I do the same things every day, regardless of where I am. I'm never off, never on vacation. Every day I have business to do. I practice music every day. I typically have some aviation stuff to do. There's a lot to do. I have monthly online courses I've got to do. I've got to go to training twice a year to the simulator. There's a lot to keep up on with the aviation side of it, because I'm flying internationally all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got kids, I've got grandkids, I've got parents, I've got a lot of family things to do. And the thing is, today it's very, very difficult to turn off, and there's so many things going on. And I'm just used to it now. It doesn't matter where I am in the world.
Yeah.
When we're on tour, I can still work. The rock and roll day starts a bit later than most days.
Yeah.
And I can. I've got a business guy travels with me, and we can still do what I need to do with all the technology and everything else, and still be on the road and do all the things I need to do. So,
like, how affected are you by all this COVID stuff that's going on right now?
I'm very affected by it. It's very, very frustrating. Fortunately, I haven't. It's frustrating, better than being sick, But it's frustrating, particularly the music. I miss, all of us who play music so badly miss touring and playing and getting together, and it's very, very frustrating, especially when you put your heart and soul into a new album with, and then you can't release it, you can't go and play, you can't
do anything.
No, you can't do anything, and and for people in the industry, it's pretty tough. Fortunately, it's a frustration for me, big frustration, not more. But I really, really miss it. International travel's also difficult. Australia, it has a
total lockdown almost, unless you have a note, I guess, from them.
No, they allow 500 people in per week per special regulation. I mean,
it's quite complex. I mean, I have no need to go back there, because my family lives actually in the United States, and my parents live in Israel. But I can still travel. I am a legitimate aircrew member, so I can travel as aircrew.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I really, it's really affected the music. Whole business life has changed dramatically. You don't have meetings anymore. Everything's on Zoom,
which I hate.
Yeah, so it's.
I don't know.
I hate Zoom. I mean, it's more convenient because you can knock out a ton of meetings in one day, but it's so much more, I guess, personable when you're sitting in the same room with them, getting a read off of what's happening. So
it has its pluses and minuses, but that's how it is now, and hopefully soon there'll be I think, a lot of talk about a vaccine. To me, it'd be better if the resources were put towards a very simple home test. Yeah. Because then anyone who's got it can quarantine, and then the thing will die. You might not then need a vaccine.
Well,
But then you're giving the public too much credit.
Yeah, you're saying that the public is going to do this, and you're going to put this in the hands of, say the lower class families. They're all going to test themselves, and then they're going to turn that in. It's really difficult.
Yeah.
So.
This episode of SNB Podcast brought to you by Veeps. For artists, by artists, always commission free. For a full list of upcoming shows, visit Veeps.com.
Agent Live 360, the world's first and only publicly offered CRM software designed specifically for sports agents.
AL360 is an incredible state-of-the-art software that does everything from keeping track of clients, professional, and college teams, to even company finances and client return on investment.
This system does it all. Visit agentlive360.com for full details.
Go check it out. I don't think that anything's going to go back to normal until there is a vaccine. And the problem with that being is that then you have to make it affordable or free for everybody to do it.
No doubt.
You have to get a minimum of 75% of the planet
and then
to
people
take
actually have to want to take it.
Yeah.
And I don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, over the years, whatever.
I would take it. I mean, in Australia, it was compulsory growing up. In school, they used to come and vaccinate you in school. You had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing here. I mean,
you still have to take your measles and your mumps and all that stuff.
I grew up in the UK, and I remember we were, you go in, polio vaccine, boom. It's regular. Yeah. But that was also, those vaccines were also tested.
Yeah.
And went through all rigorous. Whatever, and that. A lot of my friends are like, "Well, I'll take the second round."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
"Yeah,
I mean,
I'd take it."
Me too.
But
if it had FDA approval, I'd take it.
Yeah,
I'd take the chance.
But it's only 50% effective on the virus.
But even the flu vaccines, like I think 30 or 40%, I'd take that.
Correct, because it only protects you from the strain that they put it out for. That
Who knows?
Year, so. Yeah, it's just
whatever at this point to get us out of what we're in now would be a lot better than what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, we all go in cars. The odds of dying in a car, like 200 to 1 or something. So
yeah. So what are your thoughts on the whole distancing shows things?
The social distance, and
like I'm talking about like the the pods that they're doing in Europe, or even though Europe as of this taping today completely shut down again.
Yeah.
So
I think it's
I honestly I haven't.
They shut down Paris this morning.
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to say what's the right thing. You can't have the whole world sick, I suppose. So they've got to do something, and it's a very fine line between personal freedom and protecting other people. And I mean, you can't drive at 100 miles an hour, but because you can't kill other people. So I mean, there's rules of the road. There needs to be rules for society. And
what about the economic?
I think the economic
of everything.
It's very difficult. The economic impact is very, very difficult for small business people. It's going to be the ramifications of that are not yet felt because of the government assistance that's being pumped into the economy is keeping it afloat now. But when that stops, I think we could be in for a recession, global recession, and unemployment will be higher than it used to be, and there's going to be challenges.
Yeah. I think the whole entire world's going to shift.
Who do you think's doing it better, Australia or America right now? Be biased. Come on.
Our dog and pony show over here?
Yeah, but Australia had the whole thing where they were letting the refugees in, and what's the name of the governor or whatever?
I don't know. Get the rocket you've got very few. You had in the state of Victoria there were a number of cases, but nothing like anywhere else. Nothing like the United States. So you'd have to say from a COVID perspective, Australia and New Zealand have been incredibly successful, but we don't yet know what the other impacts of that, what the psychological impacts are, what the social impacts are, the draconian lockdown measures where you're not allowed to leave the country without government approval in Australia. It's, one could argue that's undemocratic. Why can't you leave?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Australians trapped overseas that can't actually get back because they limit the number of people that allowed on a flight. You have to go into a COVID quarantine hotel, which has a limited number of it's actually
and you have to pay for
it's
yourself,
like prison,
right?
Yeah. I mean, there is army and police there. You can't leave. Okay, I understand. They don't want to get COVID into the country. It's not there. You don't want to bring it in from the outside. So it's have they got the balance right? I don't know, but they've solved COVID for now. But I think it's very difficult on people who are trapped outside the country. It's very difficult for people who need to travel to see family members outside the country. But I think the majority of the population are in favour of the restrictions on the borders.
No,
I think so. Yeah, I think you'd find that they are. So,
have you made it back over to Europe any time during this?
Yes, I've been in Europe, and yes, I have. I've been in Europe.
I mean, what's the big difference over there? Did you go see your parents? I'm assuming.
I go to Israel quite a bit.
Yeah,
it's out of control.
What's going on over there?
It's terrible there. The COVID's out of control there now. It's a real really problem. Bad. Yeah. Real problem. It's one of the highest rates in the world. So
it's like India and Mexico, or it's like the big ones, right? Something like that.
I don't know how much they test in India and Mexico, but they test a lot in Israel, so you got a lot of positives. But there's look, the jury's out on.
Yeah,
it'll all be looked at in hindsight, and everybody will be very, very smart in hindsight. Mm-hmm. Whereas everybody's just doing their best. I think the politicians and the lawmakers and the people in charge, they're doing their best. We're human beings, and we got a lot of.
We've never been through that. Well, we have, but 20% of the planet died the last time. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, but we didn't have social media. Yeah. We didn't have all the mainstream.
Nothing reactionary like the way it is now. So.
Yeah. There's a lot of yes.
Let's take this away from COVID.
Yeah, please.
Let's take this away from COVID. COVID. So, Israel.
Yes.
How often do you go over there? I'm a nice little Jewish boy from Queens, from New York. So
I'm there practically every month.
Okay.
Yeah. My parents live there, so.
Whereabouts?
In Tel Aviv.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Spent a lot of time in Haifa.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah. Back in the day, I used to go there quite a bit.
Yeah.
And my dad would take me over.
Yeah.
My mom would take me over. And not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, my father lived there before he came to Australia. He's a Holocaust survivor from Europe, and he went there after the war as a teenager, and fought in the army there and stayed, and then came to Australia, made his life in Australia. But now since we sold the business, he's I won't say he's retired because he still works. I talk to him every day. Yeah. And we discuss business every day, but he lives there now. That's where his life is.
And my great grandmother was a Holocaust survivor.
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't tell you. This will be aired by the time I do this, but I'm proposing to my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And the ring that I got for her was actually from my great grandmother. She kept it inside of her.
Wow. Yeah.
She was in Bergen-Belsen.
Wow.
And survived.
Wow. Yeah.
Kept it inside of her the entire time, and my mom was like, "You got to see this thing. It's crazy."
My grandfather, my father's father, died at Auschwitz.
Okay. Yeah. Have you ever been out?
Yeah, been there a couple of times.
It's just Auschwitz is touring that place. It's surreal. I
would take bands every single time I go to Krakow. A band would be like, "Hey, do you want to go?" And I'm like, "Listen." There were so many times that I could do it where I was like, "Listen, this is not a tourist thing for anymore. No. I've done this probably 10." More than 10 times.
Yeah,
I was there, and it's just something. The amazing part is that people still deny it.
Yeah,
and that for me is like more insulting than.
Well, they just had that article come out where it's the kids in the.
That's the American.
They don't believe how many people died over there. They believe it happened. They just don't believe how many people died. Whatever. Anyway, it's crazy. Whatever. What's going on with the band these days?
The band.
Obviously, you guys are recording. That's cool. Or rehearsing.
We're rehearsing. We did the album. Finished it in December last year, and we haven't had a chance to actually rehearse and play because of COVID. We had 60 shows lined up this year, obviously all cancelled. So we're here in Burbank, and I think it's called Third Encore Studios, and it's fantastic to play again. I mean, just to get in the room with the guys and jam out these songs, and it's so good to play live, just to hear it and feel the air coming off those speakers, off the Marshall speakers.
That's great.
Fantastic, yeah.
So how long are you guys here for?
Another 4 days.
Okay.
So, hopefully we'll get out all the songs, and particularly the new songs, learn them and play them and get them ready for touring. And it's not really a tour, not really a rehearsal for a tour. It's just to play.
Yeah,
just to get out.
It's nice to get out. Yeah, and get out and stretch your legs a little bit. And that's good.
Yeah.
So what's on the horizon after the rehearsing stuff? What do you got going on in the rest of the world?
Well, the rest of the world. Well, I hope we can. I'd like to get together again with the guys probably before the end of the year. Do another week together.
I think you guys are.
And then that's the plan. And then I mean, we have a tour that we've announced for February in Europe, and who knows if it goes ahead or not. But assuming it goes ahead, we'll rehearse in January.
Okay,
that's the plan. And hope for the best.
Yeah.
Hope we'll be able to do it.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst kind of thing.
Hopefully get you back over to the States next year too. So
yeah, we'd want to definitely play in the States.
I'd love to see
you. Yeah, definitely.
Fun. So,
yeah.
That's cool. So just, again, oddity questions.
Yeah.
You've been all over the world. You've been pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place on the planet and why?
I like being in different places for different reasons and different things.
Throw a couple out there.
Yeah.
Well, Sydney's a beautiful city, and I'm from Sydney, and it's a hard place to beat. It's a great place to live, a hard place to beat. My life just took me away from there. I love being in New York, although New York is a very different place today than it was before in February.
It's rough right now.
It's very disappointing, but it's the upheaval's been great, both from COVID and also socially. There's been a huge social unrest. Obviously, there was a lot bubbling under the surface.
Yeah.
And it's come to the surface, and it's not pretty. But that's life, Things go in cycles, and I love being in New York.
Where do you live in New York?
In Midtown. Yeah.
I used to live on 34th and First.
Yeah.
You know where Blade is?
Yes.
Right there.
Yes.
There's a building directly across the street.
Yeah.
I had an apartment there for a few years, and my dad lives up on 85th and First.
Right. Yeah. So I like New York. I like Sydney, of course. I like going to Israel. There's a great vibe there.
So you're not feeling like South Africa or somewhere?
I've been to South Africa. I went there for the World Soccer Cup, World Football Cup. And I've been to Botswana. Went to a game park. It was great. And we move around so much, both for business and for work, that I don't really travel for fun, so to speak.
Oh, we know all what you're talking about.
So,
it's always nice to be like, oh, there's this really good spot. Let's go here for pizza, or go here for like a burger, or like great falafel somewhere, or whatever it may be. Yeah. There's always that spot in somewhere in the world,
Yeah. I can't stand falafel.
Whenever you go to Japan, you're always like, I have to go to this restaurant that's like on the east side. You have to go there when you're in Tokyo or something like that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you stay in Shibuya.
I mean, plenty of places are interesting, and every city's got its good and bad points, and it's the people really that make it up, and who you know in the city, and
for sure
who you know,
who you're going there with.
Too. Yes, also
that's it.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Russia?
Yeah, I've been to Moscow. We played in Moscow, played in St. Petersburg. We also, I think we opened for somebody.
You opened for Whitesnake, I think it was.
Yeah,
that's what you toured about.
Yeah. And
how I know that, I don't know.
I've been to Moscow for business, but a very interesting country. Very interesting.
How do you think that country is going to change after this? It's a really interesting question, because I was actually
every country's got to change. Everything's going to change, and we don't know how. We can speculate. There's always one thing I've learned is there's always more than one potential outcome.
Yeah.
For anything. So you can, the way I like to think about how things are going to pan out. Well, what are the alternatives? What are the goalposts, and what's in between? And then try and have your best guess at that. So, but this is it's too hard to figure out.
Yeah, incredibly.
Yeah.
Making good music is hard, but marketing your music shouldn't be. It's simple.
Simple was born out of the idea of wanting to help musicians and industry professionals better navigate the modern music industry.
Whether you're an artist, band, manager, or record owner, Simple has a solution for you.
They offer Facebook and Instagram ads management services, Spotify growth, content marketing consultations, and so much more.
Visit their website at oddlysimple.xyz. That's SIMPL Noe.xyz.
Noe. Go check it out.
Thanks.
Cat clothing. for all the cat lovers in us.
Visit catclothing.net for their full line of cat-inspired clothes.
Hoodies, shirts, tanks, shorts, and even fitness gear are now fully in stock for the fall and winter season.
Again, visit catclothing.net today. Check it out. Thanks, everybody.
Meow, meow.
Cool.
No, for me, it's one of those countries where, a lot of the rest of the world, you can kind of, you can't predict, but you can kind of get a feeling of what's going to happen. And for me, Russia's always that one. I've been there so many times.
Yeah. And
it's always that country where you just don't know.
Yeah.
It could be, it was the first one with the vaccine, right?
Well, I said
yeah. You're putting orange juice in your arm and you're like, you're good. You're fine. You're fine. But
Look, it's got a great history and a great culture. Very tough people, very strong people, very tough people. And, their system of government's not the system that suits the United States or the Western world, but it's their system, and they obviously think it works for them. So, but it's an unbelievable culture there and history and very strong people.
Oh yeah, I dated a Russian woman once.
Did you?
definitely one of the more up and down scenarios I had over a year, but she was fun.
Yeah,
she was fun. Her mother was better.
Yeah.
Her mother was better to talk to.
You're crazy. No, are you happy sports are back?
Pardon?
Are you happy sports are back?
Sports? Yeah, I'm not a big sports fan.
I figured you said you went to the World Cup. I was like,
football. My brother was chairman of football in Australia. So was my dad previous to that. So, and I played soccer as a kid. So it was the World Cup in Germany and the World Cup in South Africa, and Australia didn't make the World Cup for many years, and in I think 2000 my father took over the chairmanship of soccer in Australia and reorganized the whole setup and put the infrastructure in place to get us to the World Cup, and we've been at every World Cup since he was chairman and when my brother was as well. So we've got a family interest in the national
and making sure
the national team
wins. I get it.
Well, we didn't win. We did well to get there. Is hard enough.
That was
to get there is hard enough. So I'll follow it from that basis.
Who's your team?
Well, in globally, I actually don't follow any teams globally. I don't. But obviously, when I was living in Australia, and I'm an Australian, so I was barracking for Australia in the World Cup. But I don't follow sport closely. I don't have the time. With all the other interests I have, it just doesn't fit in the agenda.
Yeah, I used to when I was growing up, and then slowly, my interest kind of waned a little bit. Now I was always Tottenham Hotspur.
Tottenham Hotspur, yeah.
Jewish boy growing up.
Yeah, I know exactly.
What else? But now I'm just kind of. I was actually watching it last night and watching the Champions League final and how that is weird. Watching the Champions League final and there is no one.
Yeah. Well, at least they're playing.
Yeah,
that is it.
It's great for the sponsors. Yeah. Sponsors are making more or spending more money now than they ever have.
Yeah.
So
but it's just weird seeing 100,000 capacity stadium in
empty.
Portugal and nothing.
Yeah, but that or you could live in Oklahoma and have 100,000 capacity stadium and there's still 80,000 people there.
Yeah,
and then everybody gets sick the next day.
Well, no, they started letting people back into the NFL.
Only 5,000 people.
Though, but that's still 5,000.
But 5,000 people in a 40,000 person stadium. There's nobody there.
Yeah,
so, either way.
It's still something though. That's kind of, and it's only in the South.
Yeah.
It's not nowhere in the North is letting them in.
Democrat, Republican states, it's just different.
I don't understand why this is a political issue.
It really is too.
I just don't get it.
It's so weird.
It shouldn't be.
It just is for some reason.
But every state is like that. If it's and then we're not political on the show whatsoever. But the fact that we've traveled to different states, but you go to Texas, bars are packed. You go to Nashville, bars are packed. You go to Phoenix, bars are packed. All red states.
Yeah.
You go to California, they don't even know what a bar is right now. So.
I know.
Up until 3-4 weeks ago, you couldn't even get a haircut in the state.
Yeah,
but it's just
weird.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Is it weird that Americans politicize everything now?
Well, you politicize things here well, things are political here that are not necessarily political in other parts of the world.
Yes.
I mean, the two basic things. The thing I don't get about American politics is, two of the biggest issues are abortion and guns, and one's on the right and one's on the left. Why can't it appears to me there's not too many people who are
Central
Republican who don't like guns, or who are Democrat that are not pro-choice. So I don't understand why that's political, but I'm not an American, so I'm not casting judgment on it. Just where I come from, those two things are not political.
We don't have guns in Australia anymore.
Well, that was after Port Arthur. After Port Arthur,
then
they...
Yeah, after Port Arthur, they did a buyback of all the guns. But it's Australia's a completely different culture to America. You might think on the surface it's the same, but it's different. And America's got a different history and different culture. You had a war with the British, you had a civil war.
Yeah.
We never had that in Australia. So
you never had a war with the British?
No.
No,
they're
technically the people. Like what?
The Queen of England is still the head of state of Australia. So it's just different, and these are things that are very difficult to judge, good, bad, indifferent, and they're hard to argue because people have very, very dug-in positions.
Yeah.
And if you listen to both sides of the argument as an objective listener or observer, and you think about it intellectually, both are valid.
Yeah.
So then it does come down to politics and who's got the most votes. It's just those two things are not political necessarily in other parts of the world as much as they are in the United States.
It's hard to talk to people about it with an open mind too, because, for instance, I went out for a dinner party the other night with a client of mine.
Yeah.
And he started bringing up politics.
Yeah.
And I knew very, very openly that we had very different views.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to screw up the deal.
No.
So I'm sitting there trying to leeway around the conversation while my fiance is getting progressively more drunk.
Yeah.
And she's part Mexican.
Yes.
And so swings more to the left.
Yes.
Doesn't, of course, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And after the third bottle and fourth bottle of wine, she starts saying it, and I was like, I was like kicking her under the table.
Because everybody just they take it so personally. Their politics are so personal.
But this is the thing, but it is personal.
It is personal. Yeah, people and everybody's got an angle and got their interest. When you think about it in a capitalist society, if you think about it objectively, you'd have to say that a centre-right economic policy and a centre-left social policy would be the best system. You can't have a good social policy unless business is successful, people are employed, and taxes are being paid, because those taxes can then be redistributed. Of course, you get a lot of anomalies in the system and a lot of inconsistencies in the system, but philosophically and objectively thinking, if you do want to live in a capitalist society, you need to have a centre-right economic policy that can drive a centre-left social policy, and that should probably give you the best economic and social outcomes for the most people. It won't suit everybody.
No,
but it's very, what I'm saying is incredibly simplistic, and life just doesn't work that way.
No, unfortunately,
not with humans.
Unfortunately, no, I know that's this is kind of the same exact conversation that I was having the other night. I was like, I would like to be able to make money myself.
Yeah.
And have it, but at the same time, I also have compassion for other people.
Yeah.
And that some people don't have, the privileges that I've had or the abilities that I've had to have a good education.
Yeah.
And or just the small little things and the ability to bring that up. And if you can kind of, we're actually talking about this with Kaylee.
Maybe, I don't know.
About having healthcare and education being kind of one of those prime examples that if you can bring that up. And
is that weird to you about the fact that Americans don't have healthcare?
Yeah, it is. It is a bit weird. If you can do it in England and you can do it in
Mexico,
Australia, you can do it in many parts of the world. I don't understand why you can't do it, but there's probably good reasons for it. But it doesn't
make sense.
A well-off society should be able to provide basic free healthcare for its population and basic free education for its population. You would think that you could get that in America, but for some reason, it's a complex society, and you've got multi-layers of government. You've got federal, you've got state, you've got local. The same with your law enforcement. You've got federal, state, and local, and it
confuses everybody.
It's a complex society. Yeah. But if you don't have a proper social, it's one thing to have a social conscience is very important, but if you don't have a safety net for the people who don't have stuff, they're going to come and take it from the people who have stuff.
Yeah,
it's pretty basic.
I know.
So it's self-interest of the people who have stuff to have a good redistribution of the income, so that so from a social conscience point of view, but also from a practical point of view, you can't have people hungry sleeping in the street.
I mean, drive down Hollywood Boulevard right now. It's every single person is homeless on Hollywood Boulevard right now. Yeah, I know it's getting that way in New York, though, right? Too, the homelessness is getting crazy, which is nuts because winter's coming up. It's going to be even worse.
Yeah,
it's going to get to a point where there will be a tipping point, I think. And
well, we saw
election day will be
ago,
a tipping point. Yeah.
Well, but I mean,
this will probably come out on election day, so
who knows?
The whole entire thing over here, it's become more of a joke for the rest of the world. And I remember when I was growing up in London, and when Bush was elected, everybody was like, "Oh, you're American. You voted for him." And I was like, "I didn't vote for Bush.
Yeah,
you've lumped all of us into this one category." Yeah. And for 8 years, we were kind of like,
we're talking a lot about politics.
I know. Well, I'm just explaining kind of like the social element of it. And I was embarrassed. And then Obama came in, and I felt a lot better about being an American abroad.
Yes.
And then now, I moved back to the States after 20 years in Europe.
Yeah.
And I moved back November 2016.
Yeah.
3 days. And I come back, and I'm like, the timing couldn't have been more shit. Yeah. And now we're kind of teetering. I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, hey, those islands off in the Caribbean look really good right now. Barbados doesn't sound too shit to move to.
Every
hurricanes.
You got to understand, every place has got its pluses and minuses.
Of course, yeah.
There's
definitely no perfect spot in the world.
There's no perfect spot. No.
Hey everybody, it's Trevor and Adam.
We want you to check out Dynamic Talent International, the boutique booking agency with a personal attention to their clients' needs.
From music talent, seminars, podcasts, and YouTube, DTI represents a wide range of incredible clients.
Visit dynamictalentint.com for a full roster list and contact information. Go check it out.
Speaking of perfect spots.
Yes.
What is the one thing that's motivating you these days? Like, what gets you out there and just wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to go do this? The band, I'm assuming, is a big one.
All we have in life is time.
Okay.
We don't have anything else, and you can't get any more of it.
True.
So you don't want to waste any of it. And, I'm passionate about music, and I love playing it, and I'd like the band to be as successful as it possibly can be. Of course, it depends on the music. It depends on many different things, and it's a journey. It's not a destination, and I don't know where it can go or what it can do, but I know if we work hard at it, we try our best, and we put a lot of effort and energy into it, wherever it goes, we'll be satisfied.
Well, it's definitely going. I mean, you got Glenn, the new singer, that's going well, and
he's an incredibly talented guy.
Yeah, we were in the studio with you guys last year, and I couldn't believe that voice was coming out of that guy.
Yeah,
so.
No, he's a very talented individual, both songwriter and singer and bass player. Unbelievable bass player.
If you had to take one band to tour with, any band in the world, who would it be? That
AC/DC. If I,
and they just got their original with the lineup
they should open for you
back
for sure.
together.
Well, what I often say, people say, hey, we're touring with Kiss or someone. They said, you're opening for Kiss. I said, no, they're closing for us.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to stay there so the fans make sure they get a good show.
A lot of big bands have closed for us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, they got their lineup back together too, haven't they, as of last week?
AC/DC?
Yeah.
I haven't been. Well, they can't get Malcolm because he's not with us.
Yeah. But you're talking about with Brian back in the band.
So. Brian's back in the band. They also have.
That's been a long time coming.
Phil Rudd?
Phil Rudd's back in the band.
Yeah. Okay.
I was actually out with the production manager the other night.
He would know better than me.
I'm a huge fan of AC/DC. Huge fan.
Yeah, they're making the same record though for like 40 years.
Yeah, that's
that's the beauty of it, right?
No, I think I heard an interview with Angus, and the interviewer said, "Look, this is I can't remember the number, but this is your 10th album, and I have to say it's exactly the same as all your others." And he said something. I'm paraphrasing. He said something. You don't know what you're talking about. You're full of shit. It's our 12th album, and it's the same as the last 11. Because that's what we do.
Yeah. They found the secret sauce, and they just keep divvying it out. So, I mean,
they got something very, very special.
What's your favorite one? Favorite album?
I think it's Back in Black.
Yeah, I remember seeing them at Download Festival.
AC/DC played Download.
AC/DC played Download Festival, and this is the coolest part about it is they told Live Nation that they didn't want to use the main stage, so they brought their own main stage.
Yeah.
Put it next to the main stage, and it kicked the shit out of the main stage. They had the train.
Yeah.
And I was like younger, so we're going back 15 years now.
Such a baby.
Like, well, yeah, I know. Sorry. I like it. But it was definitely one of the more impressive,
awesome
live shows that I've seen in a while. And at the time, it was for me, especially because they've been around for so long, to completely outshine all the bands that were coming out at the time.
I think what's most interesting about the classic bands is that what happened between... I saw AC/DC in Australia in 2003. I think they played to 75,000 fans in the tour. And then in 2013 or 14, they played to 875,000 people. Huh. And that's been globally. That's what's happened. So what happened? I mean, why did it go from something that was, in the 90s, in the late 90s, early 2000s, that wasn't that big a deal, to suddenly...
Because they went away.
Exploded.
They went away. They took, I think it was a 10-year break, didn't they? They didn't tour.
But it wasn't only that. It's every band. It's the bands are pulling bigger crowds than they ever did in their heyday. And so either there's some dynamic change in the marketplace that's hard to... I can't figure it out. Hard to put your finger on.
Do you think it's the fact that the people that are their fans are financially secure enough to go to those shows, so more of them go now?
It must be a combination of many things. It must be young people have been exposed to it through their parents, and they go to the shows. The older people, it brings back their nostalgia, and so they go to the shows, and maybe they can afford it now. And then maybe it's just the music's just so good. From all these big 70s bands, and the music's just so good that it speaks for itself, I suppose.
I think that element of it, the fact that they're really good, and the stuff coming out now it doesn't even touch the surface.
I don't know. I mean,
what do you listen? What's the new stuff you're listening to? What's on your iPod?
Look, when I'm not playing our own stuff and practicing our own stuff and writing or doing stuff like that, I actually listen to jazz.
Okay.
I like listening to Latin jazz.
Latin jazz.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like the... I don't know.
Flamenco and...
No, just Latin jazz. I just like... I've put it on a Pandora or something, one of their stations.
Okay.
I really enjoy listening to that. And, I don't really just put it on to listen to new music. I should, but...
That's fine. It's whatever...
No, it just doesn't.
It sounds relaxing. Is it like Placido Domingo and stuff like that, or like straight jazz?
It's just like Latin jazz. I don't even know. I don't know the
bands or anything. I like that drum. That drum sounds really good.
I love the cowbell.
Yeah. You don't even know what you're listening to.
But it's not all in 4/4 time, and I think that is very interesting. I mean, some of the songs that we write in the Daisies, particularly the riffs I've done, they're not 4/4 time. And I think there's maybe that's what it is. That's why I like it.
Yeah,
that's good. It's out of the box.
Well, it catches the listener's ear a lot more.
Yeah,
it's like I remember when I was growing up and I listened.
It's a surprise.
Yeah, I listened to Tool. Back in the day.
Yeah,
and they're still one of my favorite bands this time. And that was kind of the thing, is that Danny Carey on the drums could play.
Tool's an anomaly, man.
But also, if you listen to Frank Sinatra, his phrasing you can listen to the songs over and over again, and every time it's a surprise.
Yeah,
because how he phrases the lyric there's something so magical about it. So I think, and it's not in the timing you would expect. So I think there's something to that in it.
Well, the Frank Sinatra stuff, I mean, it sounds like he punches you every single time, every time you listen to that song. Like, you could know exactly what he's about to say, and it's like the most shocking moment that just happened to you.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, man, everything he does. Sinatra was incredible.
Yeah.
So, all those guys, you know, Dean, I mean, the Rat Pack, all of them are
the
great.
The talent, I mean, it's just enormous. Yeah. The talent pool in the United States is huge. You know, at every level. In business and technology and music and in film and in art, it's I mean, this country's produced unbelievable things.
Better surfers than Australia.
Pardon?
Better surfers than Australia.
Probably.
What about Hawaii? That's America.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
we pump them out.
I know.
Either way, we know you're a busy guy. We know you got a lot of stuff to do. Yeah. We ask everybody at the end of the episode if there's anything that you want to talk about. Say, hey, mention something, plug, whatever you want to do. Throw it out there.
Well, obviously, I'm going to plug the Dead Daisies.
Plug away.
I think we got great music, very talented musicians in the band. Not talking about myself. I'm the least talented. It's a privilege for me to play with those guys. And we got great songs, and we put on a great show, and we love it. Yeah. We really love it, and we love doing it, and it's and we have fun. You know, one of the things I tell the guys is that we've got to have fun doing this. If we have fun, the audience will enjoy it. And like anything in life, nothing can be all fun. But we try and have as much fun and joy as we can in the music, and so I encourage everybody to listen to our old stuff, listen to our new stuff, and come and see us when we play, and come and say hi to us.
Absolutely. Cool. Sounds good. Well, thanks for being on, and
okay.
We'll catch you later.
Good.
Thanks again.
Good.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Okay, guys.